Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am joined by my co-caster, Noman with a 4. How are you today, Noman?
Doing great, Nightfire. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this match.
Yeah, it is a high-tier one, you know, and one that I am really looking forward to tune into. This week has had some really exciting Onward that we've been watching. You know, the meta is evolving without the smokes being available to players. We're seeing lots of faster-paced gameplay, and with these 2 EU teams, like, I just don't know what to expect today, really. Are we going to see quick gameplay, or are we going to see the sort of standard methodical approach that we normally do see out of both of these squads? You know, are we going to see sniping? Is it going to be long range? Is it going to be short range? There's so many questions I have about what we're gonna see in this series today.
Yeah, it is. Snipers are gonna happen, right? We've got Lonely Viper on the boss fight side,
right,
coming in hot with those bolt actions pretty often. But like you, I don't really know what to expect. I mean, we have some stuff to discuss, and we'll kind of cover it as we go through. But why don't we get into the bans?
Yeah, I think that's going to give us, obviously, like, the clearest indicator of what we have coming up. What do we have coming out from bans today, Naman?
Yeah, so Dead Logic on the home side have opted to ban Suburbia as their choice. And then on the boss fight side, Subway is out. So the 2 subs are no longer in play, which is interesting, right? 2 relatively close quarters maps, lots of 90-degree angles in those. And you know, that's kind of playing into the long-range play, I think, that both of these teams could want to see. I mean, Cargo's still on the table, Bazaar's still on the table, both of which are, you know, arguably pretty close quarters, not very good for sniping. I don't know. I am opting for aggressive. I'm thinking aggressive EU is going to be on display today.
Yeah.
You know, despite a few good long-range players, Scooby on the boss fight side, and I believe it is Hitman, who does a really good job long range for the Dead Logic side. I think there's still going to be that aggressive, quick play on a lot of these objectives. So I don't know. Both of those bans make sense. The Suburbia ban, 67% win rate for the all time for boss fight on that, and the Subway ban it's a map that boss fight does not play very often. It's one of their least played maps if you're looking at top 5. So kind of makes sense across the board.
Yeah, and if you are just tuning in or maybe new to the game, if you're tuning in on venues, YouTube, Facebook, wherever we are live right now, a shout out to you. And also a quick breakdown of the format, what you're seeing here. We have 2 bans. Each team gets to ban a map, then the home team picks a map. I don't think we know what map we're going to be going into right away, but there's, I'd say, about, what is the map pool up to? 6 or 7 right now, maps that you can choose from. So you ban out 2, the map pool then becomes limited, and there's only a certain amount of options. And so we can sort of guess what we're going to see here today. And what I'm excited about is that Quarantine is still in that map pool. Quarantine has had significant changes in between the quest release, since the quest release. And so we've seen, you know, a lot of new teams adjusting to it, and we have 2 veteran squads here that have been around, you know, well before the quest launch, having to adjust to those changes. It's fun to watch, you know, what sort of new angles they pick up and go with, and what sort of play styles they end up rolling out. And so that's the map I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I think that the flash meta for me has been really exciting. It has forced teams to try something. I mean, how many flashbangs were we seeing, you know, prior to this temporary meta adjustment?
None.
Yeah, almost none. So, I mean, it's made for some really interesting plays. It's made for a lot of folks, having to adjust their play style and then be successful at it. And that's what's really been so interesting is as they've gotten more comfortable with it, we've started to see it more and more, and it works more and more. We do actually have first map as lobby is coming up here, and it is going to be Bazaar as the first choice. So no surprise there, really. Pretty much a top league map.
Yeah, and you know, Bazaar, I would say a mid-range map. You know, it has its long-range angles, sure, but you often get a lot of very close quarters interactions, stairs prominent here. You know, that little bit of verticality definitely comes into effect on a couple of key positions that players end up rolling out to, and obviously a lot of window peeking going to be a key thing here in Bazaar. One of my favorites too is all of the wood paneling that you'll see in this map, all penetrable, and so you kind of get some hectic firefights sometimes in the center where there's just bullet spray going everywhere.
Yeah, it is it's quiet until it's not. You know, that's kind of what Bazaar is like. It's like the opposite of what an actual market is, which is usually really loud and then brief periods of quiet. But we're not going to see that today. It's going to be some hot action. But yeah, teams are filing in, so I think we're gonna take our little short break as we get everything set up in the lobby for you folks, and I'll probably take us out there.
Yeah, we will be right back. Do not go anywhere. Onward VRML Season 10, Week 7 coming at you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for patiently waiting a few minutes there as both teams joined the lobby and are preparing to ready up. We'll take a brief moment to take a quick look at the active rosters for today, and then we'll be diving right into the action. Coming in from Dead Logic, we have Mo Master, Furious Daddy, Sir Cookie Noob, Novius, and Oaks. And over on Boss Fight, we have Radar Head, Scooby-Doo, 35, Legal, and Lonely Viper. And geez, you want to talk about good timing, Noman? We're going right into round one.
Yeah, they're ready to go. They are excited, just like we are. Oh man, you can hear the shots. The shots are in.
Little early pre-fire coming out from Boss Fight, and we're going to get the northeast spawn for Dead Logic. With this objective, there's some interesting approaches you can take. You can decide to charge straight up through the middle, or go for that long rotation around the east side, try and come in from the south. And it looks like we are going to get a reset, unfortunately. So I guess one thing, and we can kind of share with the viewer here, is in the competitive game mode, the competitive setting that you can put up for a lobby. If you decide to reset the game within the first 15 seconds of a round start, nothing happens. There's no round loss, nothing, no team swaps sides, everything stays the same. And I guess it's a good learning experience if you are new, in that you may have noticed Dead Logic did not shoot their guns or do anything to indicate their position early. That's key. Because they didn't do that, Boss Fight still don't know where Dead Logic has spawned. If they had shot, if they had given away their location early, then Boss Fight would know, oh, Dead Logic is going to spawn northeast. It's going to repeat once. So it's an interesting thing, just to kind of note, to always keep in the back of your mind. We got to stay silent for the start of that round. You never want to give away your position early, because anything could happen. A round could restart like this, and you could be at a disadvantage. In this case, Boss Fight still doesn't know where Dead Logic is, though, so that advantage not a thing.
Yeah, I think that a lot of newer teams just aren't aware. You know, you may not even know that the spawn location doesn't change on a reset. And it's something that you really have to, you learn by doing it once. So then you're like, man, how did they know I was coming from the east side? And you learn by fire. But if you're tuning into these casts, that's the kind of tidbits we like to showcase here. We're just waiting on one member. Looks like somebody had a bit of a technical issue to reset. I do want to talk about the objective that we're fighting, that we're going to watch the fighting for, which is that Middle Street objective. Now, you and I, Nightfire, are, veterans of the league, seasoned or not, and we have our own little approaches. We played on teams. What's your favorite way of approaching this? Because teams really, I've known teams to just say, you know what, I'm never coming at it from the east. I'm going to wrap all the way around the map and go west and approach it from there. Do you have a preference on that?
I would say that I'm, honestly kind of a guy that prefers that quick and fast up the middle approach. I feel like a lot of angles that players take up to defend this position tend to sort of forego the center. Sometimes players get aggressive and will peek out and check the middle Bazaar area through that blue room or out through that window over by objective room. But it just feels like oftentimes a pretty big gap in coverage for most defenses. And if you can play it quick, you can kind of just move right up through the center.
Yeah, we saw that in the WCO West Coast Riders fight on Friday Night Fights, and they had a whole approach, to the defense that was, we got two guys in the west, two guys in the east, one guy on objective, but they left this huge gaping hole in the center, and we saw the reservist for the WCO team, the WCR team, Vegas, coming right up the middle. I mean, he got up right, maybe 30, 40 yards close to the objective, and he was there putting pressure on him early. I mean, it is a thing that I think a lot of people miss, and it used to be a bigger thing, I think, when smokes were still active right before this temp ban on them. So I wonder if the lack of that smoke sound coverage and visual coverage is what is forcing people to try a couple of different things.
Yeah, and one thing you may have noticed is we're having some resets here, and one thing I noticed, at least last round, a few matches ago that I was watching a couple days ago, is that teams, are checking comms. They're making sure that everyone can be heard, that the comms are all active, that there's no voice bugs, and if there is, then they reset the round. That's again another tip to this if you're new to the game. Just make sure everyone's in the lobby before you load, check that everyone's comms can be heard, and then start the round. Boss Fight making sure that everything's good before we do finally start round one.
Yeah, we are in We are in and ready to go. Everybody's opting to move. What you'll note here is the Volk drone is back. It's one of those things that I've been kind of keeping an eye on in some of the casts to see who is using the Volk drone. And it's out here, and it's being used in an interesting way to watch an angle normally you'd commit somebody to, right? He's got this sort of coverage of the center that we were just talking about, the people who like to rush the center. But this way you don't have to commit a Volk player. You don't have to put yourself in danger to watch this dangerous approach.
Got to bring you over to the east. Scooby-Doo, here's Oaks shifting. Sir Cookie Noob just completely exposed now if Scooby were to peek up, but Scooby is playing this one very patiently. Oaks here is going to swing out. He misses all his shots through the window, and Oaks picks up the kill. Scooby, unfortunately, can't land some key shots there. Would have potentially led into a double, but it's denied there. Oaks finds one, and now Dead Logic have control of the east. Still have to go up against Lonely Viper next up as Furious Daddy picks off one over on the west. Radarhead getting a little over aggressive, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually just up top in the second story of that change room, and he was looking for exactly that approach, but he got a little peeky on the balcony. You never want to be out on that balcony. Meanwhile, Novi is finding another. Lego going down, and Dead Logic coming out the gate so hot.
Not sure why they went with that rotation there. They have Lonely over on the east. They didn't need to risk sending one across that street, especially now that they knew they had lost this control in the southeast. It's a very risky move. Viper still staying silent, though. He could be a key component here to this defense. Their Cookie Noob is going to rotate out. He still hasn't taken shots. Maybe Viper waiting for a few more to push up. Oh.
The one tap from the Viper. It's what we knew we were going to see, and a great shot and the great rotation. Exactly what he needs to do. That's a seasoned player right there. You know that if you've just lost a couple of guys, you know there's more than one there, and they're going to be dialed in. So he rotates out. The only problem is rotating out that distance and not keeping an eye on the south is going to let the rest of the Dead Logic folks here in the southeast maybe get an easier approach.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the west, you have Momaster and Furious Daddy also working their way up to objective. And in reality, 35 is getting pinched by 4 here. Viper very far away, but does get a key pickup. He's denied one crossing here. He's getting suppressed heavily as he tries to go up ramp, drops back into the blue room in a wise move. But Furious Daddy gaining ground, and again, only one on objective. If they can just ignore Viper, they have to push now.
Yeah, if they have accurate kill count, now is the time, and they should. Each one was, there was no trades. Everything was a straight pickup. So they should know they've only got the 2 left. But Viper, I mean, he's getting into a pretty decent position there in the center Bazaar. I mean, he has got the right idea in terms of coverage, and there it is, the one on objective down. Only Viper sending the shots out. He's pinned on 2 sides here. Furious Daddy sending the fire down. Novius is inside. He's got tab out. This is a cap coming out if Viper doesn't die. He needs to rush in. And there it is. He's not fast enough, and Dead Logic with the quick 2 points to start the map.
I mean, that was a very, very good play on both sides. That Viper rotation, super savvy. You know, that was a really solid rotation. He was in a perfect position to deny the East and to challenge them like he did. I mean, he challenged both the people that were pushing in. If Furious Daddy had just not peeked, had just stuck inside to that defense, he would have been able to deny the entry, and then they could have been down to just Viper negotiating between those two. And he wouldn't have been pressured to then, you know, lose that cap. I think he also didn't know he lost Furious Daddy there. That's why you didn't see Viper charge in. You saw him duck into the suppression, and that suppression worked. And suppression's king, you know. In this meta, when you don't have smoke, suppressive fire beats out it is basically your smoke.
Right. Yeah, and you know, we didn't see a ton of flashbangs there. We didn't see a lot of actually close range engagements. Most of that was mid to long range engagements, even when we were looking at Viper using his sniper rifle. So there really wasn't even a lot of use for any utility. I mean, we saw almost none come out, let alone smokes or C4s. I wonder, I didn't actually get to pay attention to who dropped that Volk drone in the beginning. I wonder who was watching that, because that's another, you know, really interesting piece of equipment that you want to stay alive for. Like, you don't want to be the Volk drone player who then goes and rushes out, and dies, and then nobody could use your tablet. So I'm curious.
Is that that's restricted to a certain? What class can you pick that as?
It is the recon class, so it would most likely have
Viper.
been Viper. Yeah, Viper or anybody. I think you can have. Oh, that's just one. Yeah,
And
so it would have been Viper with the SKS.
And I can't wait until I have the ability to draw on the map. But if you think back and you look at the map and you think to being over in the northeast, there's they had that sort of layer, that extra layer. Scooby was pushed out farther. Viper was tucked in. He was the second layer, and he was also watching as that primary over in the center. That's how you want to do it there, because you don't want, again, Scooby to be on the Volk drone pushed up to the edge of a defensive position watching a different angle that he should be otherwise watching. So smart. I mean, that's that defensive setup there and stuff you got to think about at that kind of level, but ultimately Dead Logic still coming out on top with the cap. And now we get into round 2. And this year, I mean, I was expecting opposite scoreline, and already I'm surprised. I don't know what what's going to happen here.
It's worthy to note that the last time these guys met and the first time these guys met was March 27th of this year. They did a Season 9 matchup, and Boss Fight took that 12-5. So there's a heavy statistical lean into Boss Fight taking these maps, and Dead Logic coming out the gate that hot, that surprising with a cap. Nonetheless, is pretty massive. So we'll see how Boss Fight manages.
They're playing it fast. That's how Lego's already crossed. This street used to be deemed impossible to cross without smokes, and since they've been taken away, we've seen players just sprint across this street uncontested.
I think a lot of it is because smokes are that audible cue, right? You hear the smoke coming. Oh, there they are. They're coming from the west. But now you don't get that. You have to be constantly watching. So now you're committing 2, maybe 3 people to watching various angles of approach, and that means you're going to miss stuff.
And it really makes me interested for the rest of 1-8, the rest of this season. If we ever get to that point where smokes are reintroduced, what kind of gameplay are we going to see? Because there's going to be a variety. People have now learned I can cross the street without a smoke. Why would I ever throw a smoke here to cross the street now? Why wouldn't I just stealth cross it? And then your smokes are opened up for different opportunities. So it's exciting time again to be playing Onward. Things are ever evolving, and fun to see these teams adjust to the ever shifting meta. And look at this, the center push. I talked about it. It's one of my favorites, and it is ultimately not covered well. They really don't have anyone watching this middle street.
Yeah, it's just Novius in the blue room that's got that sort of line across, but Radar is dialed in to that position. He is looking for Novius. He's lucky he rotated out of that corner in time and went to check the hallway, because Radar is getting dangerously close.
Catches the elbow. Down he goes. Now he's going to push in onto Momaster. Has the window here. Momaster a little bit concerned, so Cookie Noob rotating around to reinforce.
My head's at the black eye.
Oh no, it sounds like there might be a technical issue on the Dead Logic side. Moa calling out that his headset just went dark. That's the kind of technical issue you don't want to have when it's Boss Fight's response to your cap.
Sir Cookie Noob, the hero, though. He is shooting around Momaster, has picked off 2. Furious Daddy denies Scooby-Doo entry into the south, and in seconds, 35 and Lonely Viper, the only 2 left for Boss Fight.
Trying to get more intel with the drone.
Now the pressure's on. 2 minutes, 2 guys left, almost a full team. Just a res available for Novius. A risky res, of course, for anybody. And there's that drone they're shooting at. You can hear the buzzing around. It's flying just above the objective here and looking for that that defender info that they need. And Viper is spearheading that, trying to get himself an idea of where he needs to point that sniper rifle of his.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a bad time to have a technical difficulty. Momaster still struggling inside objectives, so it's really a 3v2 right now if you think about it. They have one down that's not going to get rezzed out, and Momaster essentially out of commission, so interesting to see how this shakes out. And like I said, Sir Cookie Noob's done a good job so far to save his team.
See how 35's approach here works, because he's got a line on at least 1, maybe 2 if Moa gets a little too crazy after his headset fix there.
Yeah, I think he's finally back.
Pick up of 2. Yeah, there we go.
You're all right. He is back, so going to be an additional defender back on objective. Furious Daddy can rotate to where he pleases, but look at how heavily favored they are over on that spawn side.
That grenade was fantastic.
Wow.
Viper gets that perfect bounce on it. Moa Master going down. The flash out on objective. He's pushing through. The confirm comes out. The defense rotating. Is Viper going to have enough time or gumption to win this? He downs Sir Cookie Noob as he pushes out. Oaks finds him, however, and that will seal the deal for Dead Logic's third point here on map 1. Holy cow.
Chaos unfolding in the final bits of the round there. And I mean, really kind of a hectic round the entire way through. A bit of a technical hiccup on the center there. Some odd kills coming out. A quick bit of burst at the start there, you know, with Lego crossing the street and them being set up. Radar nearly pushing on objective within the first minute. But, you know, ultimately, Sir Cookie Noob able to swing, get that double, denies 2 huge entry points. Ultimately saving that round. Again, if Sir Cookie Noob doesn't get those kills, Mo Master's blind, Radar heads pushing in, and it's a potential cap. It's a 2-2 game right now. Instead, Dead Logic are going on the offense next round with a 3-0 bumper. They're feeling good, and you got to be thinking cap for this next objective, which you can arguably get a cap on.
I think so. Yeah, this Northeast Hotel is a pretty solidly cappable objective. However, again, it comes down to how trained are they with flashes. You know, they don't have smoke coverage. They don't have, at least they don't have to worry about C4s, but they don't have smoke coverage on that approach. They don't have that sound cover. So it's going to be, again, suppression and flashes, and it's going to be who practiced most. But Boss Fight's going to be hungry for this. You know, we're talking about it like Dead Logic's just running away, but it just takes one thing for Boss Fight to turn it around. One good round, one good momentum swing, and they're back in it.
Yeah, it's a team that you can't count out, especially at their level with how much they've put in and how much time they've invested into this league. You know, they're a seasoned team across the board, and so they can adapt. They're no strangers to maybe being down a couple of rounds and coming back. And so they get this Volk round under their belt. Maybe they are thinking cap to try and tie it up 3-3 when they go into their offensive round. You know, who knows what the future rounds are going to hold for this team, but.
And with a little bit of additional info here I'm getting in my headset, it looks like Mo Master, who was having that headset issue, does have to reset. So this is kind of a blessing for Boss Fight. You know, I mean, technical issues are usually kind of like, oh gosh, you know, we just want to play. But for Boss Fight, this is kind of like, oh great, they're freezing themselves out. You know, they're getting a chance to slow the momentum of Dead Logic without really having to do anything, without just, you know, the Silicon gods basically working in their favor. And we'll see if that's a swing that gets Boss Fight back on the board here in map 1.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you know, when you're playing online, technical difficulties happen sometimes. There are some rules in place. We obviously have the ability to reset at the start of a round in the case of a technical difficulty if it's recognized early. But when it comes down to it, when you're in the middle of a round, you just got to play through. And I mean, hats off to them. They played through. You know, Mo Master certainly was panicking because he was in a key defensive position. But, I mean, did you notice how well that Dead Logic team adjusted to that bit of adversity? That whole team shifted their defensive positioning down to objective when they lost that coverage. Everyone was there. Sir Cookie Noobs was there to deny the double. It was very good play. And, again, that's what you got to do at the high level. You got to be able to react to anything. If you lose someone in the middle, then shift and protect them and guard them and just really good play from them to also still secure the round, too, on top of that trouble there.
And, I mean, you know, it could have swung the other way in that same situation. Yeah. Just because you rotate doesn't mean, you know, you've got that good coverage. Had Boss Fight applied that pressure from the west and the east, had Lonely Viper and 35 both pushed in at that same time when the defense was retreating back to the objective, that's easy picks.
Yeah.
That's people not paying attention. And that lack of sync between the two, between the 3 and 2 players, right? The 3 in the mid and the 2 on the sides, could have cost them that round. I mean, did cost them that round, although we're not 100% sure that that's the reason. But despite that, it does look like we are all good. All headsets working, 10 men on the field, 5 minutes on the clock, and we are ready to go. I am hyped, man. This is not what I expected. Not to take anything away from Dead Logic, but to see Boss Fight down 3-0 this early, on one of their favorite maps. Holy cow.
Yeah, this is Dead Logic's map pick, though, if I'm not mistaken. They are home. So for them to take this so strongly isn't the end of the world. Boss Fight are going to have their choice going into this next round, and it will be an opportunity for them to answer back, probably see some long range, most likely down. I would guess downfall to sort of benefit the likes of Viper, because he really excels in those long range maps. And you can even see him here sniping. Little drone coming out from him as well to cover the center, and going to go out and investigate.
I love that Volk drone usage. I've been waiting for it. You know, I knew somebody was going to start using it, and God bless them. It's a great little piece of equipment. I mean, it's just a quick look, and it can cover so much if you place it in the proper spot.
Speaking of,
and
I mean, look at that line of sight.
Oh, yeah. The other bonus of that tool is, unlike the Marsoc drone, unless it's moving, it doesn't really make any appreciable noise, right? That Marsoc drone is loud. It's a quadcopter. I mean, those things aren't quiet. So it's nice because it's a stealthy little eye that you just don't expect when you're moving in on offense.
Scooby ID's one downstairs on that Kayat there. Novius at risk, and he's got the shield, so he'll be fine. Shots are coming down onto him. What he has to be concerned about is Radar heads potentially swinging in behind him. You can see Radar slowly working his way down the stairs here off of the callouts coming in from Scooby.
He's going to be looking for the back of this, and I mean, that is the slowest you can possibly move. I wonder if Novius is going to make enough noise to give Radar the information he needs to figure out where he needs to pop out. If he can get to that balcony right now, that is exactly where he needs to be.
Novius perfectly shielded from it, though. Swings around at the worst time. Radar finds the kill. Furious Daddy's going to apply the pressure here next. And certainly Radar heard those movements as well. So another potential kill for him to line up.
I mean, what's so noteworthy here is you can see Boss Fight is doing they're doing the turtle strategy, right? They've got 3, just about 4 on objective 35, just across the street covering that south, but I'm sorry, the east, but they have a very good coverage on the objective because they don't want that cap. They don't want that 5-0. That is MMR damage they cannot take, and they need to shore up. So we'll see if Dead Logic can pierce this pretty entrenched defense.
Yeah, and I think it's the better setup, honestly, because what we've seen is teams spreading out their defense and then getting heavily punished for it. You know, hard pushes coming in through the center, especially with this meta with flashes and nades kind of king. The hard push up the middle can be quite effective, and you can really shut down a defense out the gate. And so it's smart of them to sort of still keep it stacked. 35 is pushing out, though. Rightfully so. Lots of commotion getting, lots of noise, lots of flashes, tons of nades getting thrown over here on the east.
Radar head rotating out of the Kayat building. Furious Daddy and Moa both looking for him. Meanwhile, 35 does manage to nab one of the 2 in the east, making that approach. That's going to slow up Sir Cookie Noob's approach. 35 does have the count, though. He knows there's 2 there.
Keep an eye over on the east. We also got to obviously keep an eye on Radar head because he is getting danger close. Furious Daddy nearly peeking out that doorway. He is now. He's probably going to... Not sure what the plan is. Not sure what Radar is going to do here because there could be a gap in coverage here if he doesn't hold this angle that he's holding right now.
And Dead Logic is down to 45 seconds left in the round. So there's not a lot of time for these guys to get out of Kayat, rush across, get inside the building, find a few picks, try to get that... I mean, there's a lot of work to be done here.
And the Volk drone, too. Viper sees Furious Daddy right now. He can call out all of these locations, and Radar picks it up off of the comms. Down they go. The scoop up on the other side, and Boss Fight hold on very nicely to that Volk round.
They do indeed. The turtle strat works for them in spades. Radar head, obviously the star of that defense, nabbing 3 in Kayat, stopping that. I mean, that entire west approach was a one-man defense. You know, maybe Viper, I didn't actually catch to see if he actually called out that approach from them, but Radar just in the right spot at the right time to pick up those 3. I mean, a good approach by Dead Logic, but it felt a little slow. It felt for where they got and how much real estate they had to work with, you know, boss fight being mostly stacked on objective. It felt a little slower than I think they wanted to. And that, I think, is what happens to a lot of teams who take a lead. They start getting overly cautious, right? They want to win.
Yeah, and with an aggressive defensive position like Radar is there, I think it threw off everything. Because you saw the aggression getting applied on the east. That's when the push should have come in from the middle, because then you're splitting attention, right? You're dividing and conquering. You're separating the defense. You're forcing them to watch other angles while you can push in at the same time. And I think they couldn't do that from Kayat because Radar was positioned there. They knew he was there somewhere. They had to clear it out slowly and methodically. And even when they tried to do that, they then had to go up against the Volkdra, which had perfect eyes on him. Called out right to Radar, and he was ready for it as soon as they round the corner. So just a solid defensive setup, really, from Boss Fight to snag that round. And now, with their backs against the wall, they got to push. And I'm curious to see what we get on their offense.
Yeah, Dead Logic now. We're hearing I'm hearing a little bit of their defensive chatter, and it's all about not being peaky. Can they turtle the same way Boss Fight turtled? I mean, they've still got to get the picks, but they need that coverage because this is where you don't want that cap. You don't want Boss Fight going back on the defensive after this round and potentially having map point.
Furious going to take up the Kayat position, which has become pretty standard, honestly, for the defense these days, because you can sprint across the whole upper floor. You have full control of this building, and it puts you in a very dangerous early position right here on this balcony, and Radar Head's got to be aware of that.
Enemy killed, anyone killed.
Radar is able to ID off of some microphone noise, Furious Daddy's headset, that there is somebody in Kayat, so he's tucked in and away from that. Meanwhile, a little bit of pre-fire coming out from the Scooby side, just a little pressure on the side of the objective.
And again, they have to clear this Kayat defense, and you can see it's held up everything. Lego's here, Scooby's here. They could be pushing, they could be advancing, but Furious is tucked into this second floor, and they can't move without getting rid of him first.
He is hearing all of these footsteps.
Oh, there it is. Good coverage from Scooby. He was trying to rotate to catch Radar, and Scooby catches him through the window. Good pickup there, and now Kayat's there as it opens up the entry. You can see Legos now feeling a bit more confident to push in through the center Bazaar. Actually, no, he's going to swing around to the east and reinforce.
I mean, the pressure is just coming in hot on all sides. If you take a look at that overhead map, you can see the way Boss Fight is sort of just advancing the line against this Dead Logic defense, clearing every angle before they go. Dead Logic has to stick with their pregame plan of no peaks, because this is exactly what Boss Fight's looking for. They're looking for, players like Novius. Furious Daddy, who got a little peaky. They started looking around. Hey, I'm hearing all these footsteps. I got to look for them. And Scooby was able to capitalize off that, just being patient. So they have to win the patience game.
35 favors the east on offense as well. He's going to try and approach the east side here. He's going to go up against the likes of Novius or Cookie Noob, even Oaks over here. But I mean, geez, again, this is exactly the defense that I think is very weak on coverage. Really, it's just Momaster on objective. If they kill him, Novius has to rotate from Blue Room. He can easily be picked up if they're watching properly. And it just takes Lonely, Scooby, and Radar to push in from the middle to get a cap right here.
Yeah, the rotations would be dangerous, and that is why 35's position is so good. He can catch those rotations back to objective. That is actually one of the best approaches on the east, is you don't actually push through. What you do is you apply the pressure from the west on the objective, and then you have that player in sort of 35's area kill anybody crossing the street, right? Oh, crap, I got to rotate back to objective. And that's when you catch out the rest of the defenders, potentially win the round. We've seen teams win rounds like that just by killing the defenders trying to get back to cover the actual cap.
Lego's still here in Blue Room in center, waiting for him to move up. And again, there's now almost 4 positioned at the entry here. Just taking their time. Minute 20 on the clock, so they're going to have to start to make their move here. They don't have a lot left to work with.
No, they do not. 35 taking his time on the approach from the east, getting into the right spot. A bit of that sound coverage coming in.
Oh, Viper finds the nade through the window. That opens it up for entry. Are we seeing the rotations? Yes, we are. Oaks swings around. He's now covering that north entry point. Legel potentially going to challenge him, but another bit of utility comes out. I don't know if Oaks was blinded there or not, but he's tucked in enough. Viper's going to try and swing. Shots coming in from Sir Cookie Noob, down Legel and Viper. 35 hasn't rotated with the rest of his team just yet, and Sir Cookie Noob continues to shut down this offense. 35 now all alone.
The man, 6 kills, leading the team on kills. He's going to have to deal with 35, but 35 does spot him out early. There's only 15 seconds left, though. It's just 35 versus 2. Can he make the pressure? He could find Novius here, but it's 10 seconds. He'd have to find 2 picks in the span of roughly 6 seconds. I think he might... Is he out of ammo? No, he just had to reload the gun, but he's pushing through. There's no time. Dead Logic will take this on boss fights. Unfortunate offensive loss there, but a great defense by Sir Cookie Noob will seal the deal for map 1.
Huge key rotation there for him. And then again, we talked about it before that round started, that whole east push is important because it draws the attention. If you don't draw the attention, they never even knew that 35 was over there until Sir Cookie Noob dies after killing the whole team pushing in from the front of the objective. So, you know, it just, again, the timing a hair off and everything crumbles. And that's, at this level, what you get. You know, you got to be on point. And everything has to be firing on all cylinders. Any little mistake can get picked apart by the team there.
Yeah, again, worth noting as well that these teams did not play Bazaar when they played each other last time. So this would have been the first time that they've, you know, at least in a game scenario, not in a scrim, duked it out on Bazaar. So maybe boss fight just getting caught off guard by some of those positions and the way that they managed their defenses and their players. Really good play, but map 2 is loading in now, and I think we're both pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, an interesting choice coming in from boss fight for them to choose quarantine over downfall, and not necessarily what I expected. You know, and more anticipate boss fight to be picking that downfall option because it caters to the long range. In that. Along that argument, though, quarantine is an entirely new animal now, and there are tons of very long-range angles that cover huge swaths of the map. And so I'm very interested to see what Viper takes up, what kind of angles he's holding on these defensive objectives, and if Dead Logic are going to be ready for it, and if maybe they're going to do some of their own, because I mean, geez, 4-1 on Bazaar, they're coming into this round feeling good.
Yeah, the momentum is still on their side. Boss fight nabbed 1, but it was a defense that, you know, can be relatively easy depending on if you ID the offensive approach. So they're feeling good. I mean, you take the first map, you've got the positive emotions on your side, and if they manage to tilt boss fight, you know, it is mind games, right?
Yeah.
Some of it's gun games, but a lot of it is mind games. If you can make the other team feel disheartened at their performance, that's almost another victory. That's like a round win.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that comes into play here. But I am going to be looking at, you know, Legel, Viper. Honestly, pretty much every player on both of these teams. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on what kind of approaches they take, what kind of loadouts they're using, because this is a map that used to be very long range, right? But with the adjustments since 1.8, they've added a lot of, you know, I don't want to say flora and fauna, it's not actually vegetation, but they've added buildings and Humvees and rocks and all these other things to obfuscate a lot of views. So it does come down to close quarters, right? In that final 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely in the final 2 minutes. I still stand by, though. You can take some very risky early positions and have coverage you could never have before on this map. You know, I want to see if Viper is going to go onto that 5-story roof. He's going to risk going onto the plane wing. You know, if I know he's going to go onto the south roof and be sniping from there. You know, there's just new sniper positions for him to take up. And I want to see if either one of these squads is sort of innovating on that positioning, you know, because, again, there's still, tons of new spots that you can take where you can catch veteran players off guard.
Yeah, I've been in the league for 2 years and change and playing for a good chunk of that. And, before the adjustments to quarantine, there were new spots being found on a map that was older than I was playing in the league.
Yeah.
And this is basically just a brand new map. So these things are evolving week by week. I mean, we are constantly seeing new things from teams, and that's why it's so exciting to tune into these week after week, because you just never know. You never know the type of big brain, 200 IQ kind of plays that people are coming up with, in their practices and in their scrims. It's so exciting to see. I'm hoping that everybody in the venues and the Twitch and the Facebook, where we're live all across the board, are having a good time here. I want to, spark a little discussion. Where are you guys seeing this going? Is Dead Logic going to take map 2 here? I mean, they've been looking so strong. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to call it, honestly. I'm not even going to ask Nightfire. I don't want to invoke the caster curse or anything, but I want to hear what people in the chat and the discussion in venues is like later, because this is exactly the kind of matchup that I was hoping to see on this fine Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it is a great venues display right now. If you're new to the game, you're really getting a good look at very high level Onward. You're seeing these teams that have devised these strategies, maybe for over the course of several years at this point, and now they're innovating them and applying them. And it's for quarantine, I just don't know what to expect here today. The map's changed a lot since I've last watched both of these teams play on it, and so I'm very excited. And to all the new folks, we do appreciate you. And if you want to get involved in the league, you can head on over to vrmasterleague.com. VRML.com will also work, and you can register to play on a team and compete in this league for a couple of different games. We have a league for Echo Arena, we have this league for Onward, and we have a league for Snapshot that just is in its preseason right now, and I think 10 or 11 teams signed up for it. So
14.
Wow, geez, I'm behind on the count. But plenty of teams to join that. That's a fun paintball shooter. But there's lots of options to get involved at the esports scene, and you are seeing top of the ladder teams playing right now. There is a bottom of the ladder. There is a lot of new teams in the league, and so again, if you're a new player, if you just got your Quest 2, if you just picked up Onward, it is a great time to sort of go hunting for a team to join and say, hey, look, I'm a new player, but I want to play competitively, and you'll get picked up pretty dang quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be afraid to start your own team. Don't be afraid to join reservists. I mean, there is plenty of ways to get involved in this, and it is always a blast. And we want to hear about it. Let us know. Give us the Twitter feedback. Give us the Twitch feedback. Let us know what you think. But we don't have time to focus on that anymore, because round 1 of map 2 is getting underway. We have got, let's take a look here. We have got the objective on Volk Garage.
I've been watching Sir Cookie Noob try to get up into this position, but he can't get to where he wants to go. The collider is preventing him, and he's actually fallen twice. Finally, he does get up to the plane wing, but I gotta wonder if he's a little too late to getting up to this position.
Yeah, it would have been so key when Radar was pushing through through that little northeast corridor, but now, still dangerous. I mean, the man was top of the team for kills last round. True. He's got the SV98 loadout for this particular round, so he's looking to do some damage, but a lot of the positioning of boss fight already done here in the Northwest.
Yeah, they've moved pretty much out of any line of sight that he can get for now. If he continues this maneuver up to the top of the roof, he can then kind of eventually take a gander down into the north, but by the time he gets there, he might be too late again, and so his timing could just be a fraction off on this position, and he's actually not even going to go to the top roof. He's going to dip up and take a position here and hold the south. Oh, this is interesting.
Worth noting as well, 35 subbed out by Polispill for the boss fight squad as well.
Interesting adjustment, considering he was the one that was kind of just out of sync that last round. Maybe shifting him up will bring the full 5-man boss fight squad back into, all the gears working together. Radar Head is moving up, and I think he's going to go under the nose of Sir Cookie Noob, because Sir Cookie Noob's push so deep into that top floor.
Yeah, that position, I mean, it's good for the longest range and then for surprising people on the short range. That's the two scenarios. There's really no reason to peek at mid-range because you know that offense is going to be looking for you. They're going to be scanning that rooftop as they approach.
And let's talk about this. This is interesting. They still don't know the positioning of the spawn point of this offense. They still don't know that it was over on this side. They've had no indicator whatsoever that anyone's over in this north side. And we just heard a nade go off in the south. So this drone is actually the first indicator to anybody of the positioning of this MARSOC team.
Yeah, it's heading across the northwest. It's going to be peeking maybe at Oaks. It may have just missed him if he's not. We'll see. I don't know how dexterous Lonely Viper is with that drone. You got to be pretty dexterous to swing it around quickly and still manage to control it. But I would imagine that he's spent plenty of time with it. So we'll just say that Oaks' position is likely burned, but he hasn't rotated.
Does get shot down by Mo Master, so no more comms coming in. The swing here from Legel does seem like it ID'd Oaks because Legel was ready for him. A good job there. Catches some bullets into the chest, but maybe wearing some body armor to alleviate some of the damage. He gets a little heal off, and he's ready for more action. Sir Cookie Noob maybe next up on the list for this defense.
Only Viper finding Furious Daddy in that center burning, and now Radar Head is kind of free and clear here to walk around just outside of the objective. Now the rotation from Novi is going to be ID'd by Radar. He's going to be aware of this, I think. And if he doesn't come around this corner with a bit of caution, Radar is going to nab himself the third pick. No, Polo's Bill is going to beat him to the punch. And that's going to make it a 5v2.
I mean, we've seen Sir Cookie Noob clutch before, but this is a 1v5, and everyone's pushing objective. He is dangerously far away. It's an easy cap once Mo Master goes down. Sir Cookie cannot rotate for this. Boss fight may be able to kick this one off 2-0.
I think they want to do that. Sir Cookie finds the dangerous sniper in Viper. Scooby under pressure here from Moa. He had tablet. He finds that Legel, though, on the backside. Cleans up Moa, and now it's all up to Sir Cookie Noob to stop this cap. He's not going to see Radar Head here. Pad out on objective. He's looking for it. He downs Polo's Bill, but does he spot Radar? Can he find the shot on him? 30 seconds left. Radar trying to send the code. It doesn't work, and now he's under fire. The pressure coming in. 23 seconds left. Oh, no. This is so dangerous.
They have a drop? Where's Legel? What is Legel doing back there? Why isn't he here capping? Radar finally pushes up to OBJ. Sir Cookie Noob drops off his position. Radar's punching it in, and he can't get it. He has to swing and get the kill. And Legel wandering in the background, not able to reinforce. That could have been a cap if maybe he could have come up there and tried to punch in the code himself.
That round was insane. That round was insane. Probably one of the better rounds of quarantine I have seen in several weeks. For for both sides, that was such an intense round. Sir Cookie Noob, I mean, blowing us all away with those shots. I mean, he was boom, boom, boom.
He sniped two with a bolt action and then pistoled the third down from the rooftop. Like, the pistol shots are not easy to hit.
No.
They do very little damage. You have to hit like 4 of them to down somebody. And he gets up there and tags a third and then ends up pushing and forcing the kill. I mean, albeit incredibly late. You know, that there was basically 2 caps right there. Radar could have punched in the code once on the outside of the wall and once when he went inside to the objective. But, you know, some sort of bug, something happened on his tablet, and Legel was wandering in gas station getting a snack from the concession stand. And he doesn't come around to get the cap on the back end either. So, you know.
He had to get those Juju bees before they went to the objective. It's the Juju bee episode. But, I mean, it was a defense that could have worked, but it was definitely an offense that would have punched through it. You know, and that is a stroke of luck for Dead Logic I don't think they're going to see again. I can't see Boss Fight making that same, you know, pressure mistake at the end of that round 2 times in a row. We'll see, though, because they do have a little respite here. They got to defend this same objective before they go on their next offense. And we'll see if Dead Logic has a different approach. Looks like, yeah, it does sound like from the Boss Fight huddle that it was a bug of some sort. You hate to see it happen, but hey, you know what? You got to adapt.
again, we saw Dead Logic adapts to a headset issue. The adaptation there is Legal comes in and caps two. You put two people punching in the code. You know, you double down. One of you has is going to be able to get that code in. You know, and they still get the round. So who are we to say?
Round, yeah, exactly.
You know, and so they are up 1-0. They go on the defense here. Scooby-Doo positioned early in the north to potentially snag this rotation out of Furious and Oaks.
Negative, just hold.
And I gotta give it to Radar. That quick adjustment is so key. Wow, the pre-fire early from Furious Daddy onto the corner of the roof will find the first defender, and they draw first blood 30 seconds in.
Pretty good way to kick off an answer back round on Marsoc. You start things off 4-5, and you have basically the entirety of the round to work with now. And look at this boss fight defense. They are really spreading out here. They are getting far away from objective. Polis Bell's rotating way over onto that west side. Viper really the only one on it. Everyone else, Radar and Legal, that is, over in this far south building. Legal may get sniped up here if he's not careful. Down he goes. Long range shots from Novius on that south hill.
Just figure it out, okay?
It's two quick picks, but an answer back from Polis Bill will find one. He's looking for the second. Pressure on. No shots landing.
Has to get that confirmed. Does find it. So things starting to even up here for boss fight. Polis Bill gets a key pickup. I think he knows there's another one too, especially since that flash got thrown. He confirmed the kill and then heard a flashbang. How else is it going off? Someone's got to be there throwing it.
Yeah, but he is out of there. He does not want to chance that peek. I mean, it's a long-range pick. He did have the 2X on the hollow, but wasn't going to trust it. He's actually going to apply the pressure on the corner of the rooftop instead, and this is a rotation that I don't know that Oaks will be ready for. If he goes for that little hole in the wall, which he kind of looks like he's creeping towards, could be dangerous, but Polisbo backs off the hill temporarily.
I mean, he has a dead teammate right there. That's kind of a warning that if you do the same, if you push that same position, you too could be next. And he has additional information. He was just in the firefight over there. He should know Oaks is somewhere there. You saw him watching the hole in the wall, but nothing's happening, and he has to swing back now, especially as Radar goes down. The on-objective defense gets weak. He goes just under the nose of Sir Cookie Noob, doesn't get sniped, and is able to get back on OBJ and help Viper reinforce.
Yeah, Viper tossing that flash out just to be safe. He didn't know. And this is, this is skittishness. This is a team that is wary of the Dead Logic pressure and the Dead Logic cap. And it's about 2 minutes left in the round. This would be around the time that they would start applying that sort of final pressure. The only person not quite in sync right now is Sir Cookie Noob on this North Street. He is a little bit disjointed from the rest of the group. I mean, Oaks as well is kind of theoretically pinned. At least he thinks he's pinned.
Look, we've criticized his positioning before, and he's picked up a three-piece. So what do we know at this point? He's certainly managed to find effect in spaces that I wouldn't think would be effective. And Viper here has tucked himself in right up to this plane wing, right by objective. The lack of coverage is on the wall side. Polis Bill is over there on the gas station end of things, holding it down. Minute 20 on the clock. Time could be a factor for Dead Logic here. They're really far away.
Yeah, Novius is the only one even close, but he should be hearing Polis Bill. The flash comes out, not going to connect. Polis Bill rotates. He's checking the window now, and that's enough for Novius, as all he needs is the head of Polis Bill to knock him out. And 60 seconds left. That rotation is going to be coming quickly from the offense. Oh, the pressure coming in, and the grenade! Holy cow, that grenade toss from the roof by Moa Master of Hospital is absolutely spot on. Lonely Viper going out, and Dead Logic with the response.
Hey, if you sit on objective, that's certainly a risk. A nade right onto OBJ is a smart one, especially on that objective, because there's all kinds of little positions that you could be tucked in around those walls on the top of the objective, and a very solid frag toss ties things up. You couldn't ask for a better answer back if you're Dead Logic. You've just lost your Marsoc round, and now to take a Marsoc round of your own, it's this series. If you're boss fight now, you really got to keep focused, because now you're thinking we're in for another battle on quarantine here.
I wonder, with Quarantine's objectives being so various in terms of their approaches, I wonder if there is this team knows this objective better. Which one is it going to be is the question. And the reason I bring that up is because the objective they have next is a new one. A new one for this particular iteration, the 1.8 iteration of this map. It is inside the plane fuselage in the northwest. And this one, both teams don't have several years of practice attacking this objective.
Yeah,
and I wonder who has put the time in.
You want to talk about innovation? There's all kinds of little spaces here that, if you're not very familiar with the map, you're not going to be ready for. One of them, my favorite, is that the offense can push in and tuck into this corner and cap on the other side of plane. And so if you don't have somebody on that's either checking from the roof down into this crack or watching that entry point, it is a potential cap angle. And so curious to see if Boss Fight go for that. They are going to get that crater spawn. And so they can work through up the north there.
Crater spawn will give the defense a good bit of time to set up, and it'll give Sir Cookie Noob the opportunity to get up on this roof nice and early.
Nope.
Oh, but Viper knew exactly the same thing and manages to absolutely dominate Sir Cookie Noob before he even hits that plane wing.
I just kill confirmed the one on big
What
boy.
a shot.
Super long range snipe there coming in from Viper. Really nicely done. Catches the ankles, honestly, of Cookie Noob rotating in. And that's a huge pickup for Boss Fight here. Sir Cookie Noob's been the key fragger for this Dead Logic team. With him gone, certainly feels, I guess, a lot easier for this Boss Fight squad, at least from our perspective. We'll see if things come to fruition, because they are going to be pushing in from the north here. Arguably pretty weak setup on that north side, too. Not a ton of people over on that objective building.
Well, I mean, the roof. The roof was supposed to be on fire,
Yeah, right.
and now it's not. And now they've got that opening. Now Lonely Viper with the call out, gonna let his team know, hey, don't worry about it. That building has one less person you got to worry about. So now we can push up in the north a lot more aggressively. Like, you have to wonder, if you missed that shot, how quickly would Polis Bill, Leggle, and Scooby-Doo have gotten into this north courtyard?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, it comes down to the what. You can play the what if game all day, But that key pickup has opened up the west and the north, and interested to see what shakes out for Boss Fight. 3:15 on the clock, and it looks like they're just sort of positioning. You have one over there on the south who could push in from the center.
He is positioned, as he has been for a lot of these rounds, sort of offset, but looking to catch somebody rotating, looking to catch somebody unaware of this position. As his team makes noise on one part of the map, Radar's on the other. It's an interesting sneaky play. He wants this hospital roof. I can almost I can tell that is what he's hungry for. If he can get that roof, he's going to shut down a lot of rotations from the defense and open up a lot of the movement for the north side.
Polisbill tossed the nade over into this courtyard area, and it almost caught Scooby-Doo out, so I wonder if there's maybe a bit of a miscommunication on positioning there. Either way, Furious Daddy also seems to have his lasers brushing over here right on top of Polisbill. Shots come in, they don't quite find Polisbill's head. He's able to duck under the wood just in time, and now Scooby looking for this position inside, but he's not going to get that angle because Furious Daddy is very tucked in.
Scooby's in danger to Moa, but Furious does get nabbed by Polisbill in the end. Master's going to miss his chance here to spot Scooby, but will Scooby do the same thing and take a peek into that center? It doesn't matter. He's already under pressure as he rotates down.
Radar Head finally going to make a move on his position. He's heard the burning call out. He does seem to rotate up there onto the ramp. Next up is the roof, and once he takes control, he might be able to find the angle onto Momaster, who's out pretty exposed in the middle of the street here. Actually, he's not going to take roof. He's going to keep swinging south over there, maybe challenging Novius. No, he does find Momaster. Novius is next, though.
It's a 5v2. Novius trading out with Radar Head, and there it is. Leggle finding that last kill. an unfortunate little team kill to stack on top of it, you know. Do a little self-damage, but it doesn't matter because they had already won, and that is 2 points for boss fight. Dead Logic now have to put in that work again. They got to do the Marsoc thing that they managed to do in that second round. Do they have the chops for pulling it off a second time against this boss fight defense?
Yeah, interesting to see the Marsoc rounds being traded here. You know, maybe, again, to your point, an indicator that these teams not familiar with some of the, or not, you know, 100% comfortable with defending some of these newer objective points there. And the snipe out the gate to open it up, just boss fight able to snowball off of that momentum, and they are now leading 2-1 on their map pick. They got to secure this one if to take it to a best of 3. So a lot on the line for boss fight right now.
They've got to be feeling the pressure. It's hard to play like this when you know that this map could already end your series. You know, it's a lot of pressure, and we're seeing them being, you know, extraordinarily cautious, extraordinarily communicative. You know, I was watching the center push there from Scooby and Lonely Viper and Radar, and the comms, both verbal and nonverbal, were constant. Scooby pointing with his gun to show where he last saw this defender. Lonely Viper calling out to Radar that he's got the hospital. He doesn't have to worry about this guy upstairs. Yeah. I mean, they were on it one after the other, and they're playing like the top team they are. And I wouldn't be surprised if this map goes the way of boss fight just purely based on the willpower of this team to take it to a third map decider.
Yeah, you know, it's man, this series certainly been a fun one to tune into today. Shout out to everyone that is dropping by on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Oculus venues. We do appreciate everyone that's tuning in and getting their VRML action in. You know, a good time to be a VR esports fan, that's for sure, especially if you like watching Onward.
One member of the defense was identified from the south, and that is the same one applying the pressure, but Furious Daddy knocking out Legal in the hospital is going to make it a quick 5v3.5 as a res is available on the one in the north.
Yeah, Novius picks up Viper. That's their range gone now, too. And the defense a bit spread. Radar on gas station. He's in a 1v2. Furious Daddy calls him out. So Cookie Noob going to rotate next and maybe look for that sniper shot through the window.
The panic coming in. I'm hearing Scooby's comms here with Viper. Where are you? How can I get to you? This is the pressure coming in, but exactly what the offense wants. Furious Daddy applying the pressure there. Radar giving a little bit of response as Sir Cookie Noob goes down to that fire. And now Scooby looking to pick up another as Furious Daddy pushes out, but he's going for that res. He's just trying to tuck him in. Can he grab it? The res is out.
Huge.
What a huge pickup. Unbelievable. And that is that top tier play. That is that constant movement.
Viper just tried to drop down off 2 floors and killed himself.
Well, you know, almost top. Almost at the very top. You hate to see it happen. Sometimes you just misjudge how quickly you're going forward and you don't hit that ledge below you. I've definitely seen it happen. Meanwhile, Furious nabbing that pick. Radar in the south is gone.
A little hectic here as we are now into a 4v2. Momaster and Oaks trying to make their exit out on this far north side, but Polis Bill making it pretty difficult. Catches one, and Novius has an angle there. He just has to get it. Nade toss comes out. It's a good long range one. Airburst just a bit away from Polis Bill's position. A nice swing there from Polis. More shots coming into his position from Novius. He actually pulled a pin on a nade too, so he's going to get confirmed with that one. And it all comes down to Scooby.
Does nab that pick in the gas station, which is pretty huge, but now he's got to go all the way back to objective because Master and Novius both pressing in quickly here. The callouts from Furious Daddy will be coming in, though. They should know that this rotation is coming from Scooby, that he's going to be tucked in on OBJ, and this is best case for boss fight. I mean, They need Scooby to die or kill 2 people. That's it. Because if there's a cap coming out, that's going to put boss fight on the back foot they don't want to be on.
And you can see Scooby checking all the angles. Roof, up above, down below. Making sure nobody's currently capping on this OBJ. And he may catch Novius. No, Novius just dipping away there as Scooby swings. And this is textbook Onward. As soon as you dip off an angle, the enemy peeks it. And now I'm sure as Scooby drops off, Novius will peek the stairs. I mean...
Yep. Can't call it any better than that. That is exactly the case here. I mean, Novius is making noise. Scooby should know that this is coming, but he needs Moa Master. He needs that pressure from 2. There's 1:20 left. Novius has Pat out. He's going to be looking for this cap from up top, but Scooby should be looking for it. He's scanning around. Can he find it? Pat is out.
I don't think he can do it from that position. I think he needs to go down to the next piece of the plane to get it to be low enough. That's
Cooked
a good
flash.
Scooby is flashed. The pad's getting the code's getting punched in. Novius does it under the flash on Scooby.
Unbelievable. Did he pre-type the code? Is that what just happened there? What just happened? He got that code in so fast.
You have 5 to 7 seconds on a flashbang to punch in the code. He perfectly flashes Scooby on objective, and then what's interesting is that I guess you don't hear when you're flashed. He doesn't hear the audio.
Well, you got the ringing. Yeah, you got the ringing.
So he doesn't hear the oof of that fall, and the code gets punched in within 5 seconds.
That is a massive play. That is a massive play from Dead Logic here in this round. I'm blown away. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Have they practiced it? Do they know what they're doing? And the answers are coming in. Yes, Dead Logic know how they need to approach that objective. Wow.
It's ridiculous to have that foresight to throw the flash in there. And that's a huge, you couldn't see a bigger dice roll live. You're throwing a flash, you go, well, hope this works. I'm going to flash who I think somebody's down there. He just checked the angle 4 times and didn't see anybody. So in his mind, honestly, it's pretty clear. But hey, let's get the flash down there just for safety. I'm going to drop in. Probably not going to get anybody. I'm just going to die from bullets right away. But instead, stays focused, drops in, punches in the code, and gets 2 points. Boss fight now down a point. Going on to the offensive round, I mean, Dead Logic maybe looking to snag the series here.
I mean, this is exactly where they want to be, and this is where Boss Fight did not want to be. And after Boss Fight was having this great, they had that perfect exchange to pick Lonely Viper up off the roof, and then immediately to be down a Lonely Viper because he misjudges a fall.
Yeah.
It's just, to them, it's just been like one fumble after another. You know what I mean? The turnovers that are happening here are just endless. And Dead Logic just capitalizing again and again and again. And now they need the defense round. They just hunker down, don't get too aggressive, don't get too crazy, and that's the series.
See what happens. The north objective is where we're headed for round number 5. Bit of quick math had to be done there, but I think I got it right. And hey, this series just has been providing some amazing moments. Some really great plays. That is a clip for the ages. That one, put it in the scrapbook. Show it to the grandkids. That was really nicely done.
We're gonna be seeing it in the highlight reel, no doubt, in no time here on the channel, I'm sure. The defense has identified the spawn, but at a cost, as Sir Cookie Noob going down to that long-range Viper shot, and Scooby finding a second, as now 2 down.
You said all I have to do is tuck in, but with this objective, there's some new defensive positions that we've seen players take. Majorly, the positions that Novius and Sir Cookie have gone down to. They are more aggressive these days because of exactly this risk. You can easily get shot from tons of different angles in the south. And for them to lose both of these guys here, these reses are not coming in. Oaks is not going to get up there and get Cookie. Novius is not going to get rezzed. If they do, it's a real lack of coverage on Boss Fight side, especially now that they have Radar Head on top of the roof.
Yeah, Oaks here is going to be looking for that pick onto Radar if he just peeks his little head over. I'm surprised they didn't go for the res right away. I mean, Cookie Noob went down. Well, I suppose, never mind.
So
my
hard
apologies.
to get up there.
Well, the player's IK is client side, so he had fallen off of that position. So on my screen, it looks like he's right in front of Oaks, but that is not the case, of course.
Yeah, well, for the audience watching, it is where he was down up on top there. So you know, definitely.
Yeah, his equipment is still up there, and there's the pressure from Oaks coming out onto Radar Head's position. He did ID him, but what's the exit strategy here for Oaks? Right, you got to reload sometime. You know, Scooby, meanwhile, confirming that Novius pick he had gotten right in the beginning, and now it is. I mean, this is the trap. I mean, Boss Fight has set the trap perfectly here. They've just got to swing around. Polis Bill on that side in the northwest, going to come around, find Oaks, and then it's just going to be 2 on objective. The grenades coming in. Lonely Viper is the one that applies the pressure.
On the other side of the map, he's rotated around the east. Snipes out a huge defensive player there. Oaks goes down. Cap's available. Scooby can push in. Momaster gets Polis. That's a big pickup. Evens the odds a little bit, but it's still a 4v2 with Viper rotating around the backside.
I mean, the walls are closing in around them. They don't have a lot of things they can do. The confirmation now final for Sir Cookie Noob, but Lonely Viper on the outside, but he had tab out. He wasn't ready for it. Meanwhile, Moa finds Scooby. It's just a down. He should be hearing the callouts. He's going to need to confirm it, and now it's a 2v2 with a res available on the offense.
Yikes, the risk. This is series point to go for the cat pad out like that. Yes, obviously you're nearly snagging the map, but now they're into a 2v2. Scooby is resable, does have a good call out position, but he can't see anything. No one's going to peek any angles that he has vision on, which does, I guess, lend to the point that he could get rezzed. But look at where he was positioned. Radar's way up on the roof. Lego could swing, but he's going to have to rotate and do it fast.
Yeah, I don't know about this res. Minute and 45 coming out. Moa peeking that just at the right time because Lego was kind of trained in on that corner. So really working out for the defense there, that timing. Lego's going to swing around to where Polis died to Furious Daddy's position just moments ago. So, I mean, who knows? If he's quick on the draw, he may be able to find him.
Radar Head maybe able to get an angle here on Mo as well if Mo's not ready for it. So both Lego and Radar aware of Mo Master's position, obviously, because Scooby-Doo knew right where he was, and he hasn't seen him rotate out of that corner yet. So deductive reasoning gives them a little bit of information, and we'll see if Radar is going to be ready for Mo's position.
That one.
There's your answer. It's a 2v1. Now he's able to pop out. Tries to confirm Scooby. Doesn't actually land the shots there, but he's looking for Lego. I don't know if he heard shots or if he heard pressure, but it doesn't matter. Lego quicker on the draw.
I don't win.
45 seconds left. Lego could swing to the left of this crate and see Furious Daddy in the corner. He spots him out. Shots come in, and a huge pickup from Lego. Get Boss Fight another round. We are going to the final. Round 6, technically, but
You can't see it. The resolution isn't high enough on the camera, but I've got goosebumps. That's how good that round was. I've got goosebumps. But fantastic play by Boss Fight. I mean, the adjustments, the rotations, just the mental picture that they had to draw of the locations of those defenders. Stunning. Fantastically played. Dead Logic holding on well, you know. It's just those early picks. They did not stay alive long enough for Boss Fight not to capitalize like that. And Boss Fight, again, you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah. This map is insane. We have a flash drop cap to put him up 3-2, and then an absolutely wild 1v2 from Lego to bring us back. 2 absolute back-to-back bangers of rounds here in the VRML, and you know, this is why we're still going. This is why we gotta keep the league moving, because you still, you know, despite some issues with bugs or whatever you have with the game, it is still super fun to play, and both of these teams going at it today has been really fun to watch. They are really, I mean, you want to talk about getting sweaty and staying focused? These teams are locked in right now.
Well, here it is, the final, the 7th round, the 11th hour, whatever you want to call it. This is Boss Fight holding on to this series. This is important to know. We didn't talk about this, and we don't typically highlight things like this in the league lately, but this is a rank 26 team. Polis Bill, the first going down to Sir Cookie Noob's long range hijinks there, interrupting my shots, but the crater spawn now identified, almost for sure. The callouts coming in. Again, quickly, before the rest of the action unfolds, this is a rank 26 team, a silver team taking on Boss Fight, a master rank in 4. The MMR loss would be massive for Boss Fight. They cannot lose this match.
Yeah, and again, if you aren't familiar with the formula of how things work out here, we have a rank system in the league, and these teams, if you win, you go up in rank. If you lose, you go down, and the more you lose by, the worse it is. And so in this case, yeah, Boss Fight cannot afford to have this loss to Dead Logic. They would have a serious blow to their current rank. They would lose a significant amount of points there and be in a... Well, like I said, maybe down a couple of positions there in the overall leaderboards, but... And if you are wondering why does it all matter, there's a good bit of prizing on the line. $1,500 in cash, alongside $3,500 in prizes from our sponsors. So these teams are competing at the end of the day for quite a bit of prizing on the line there. And obviously that doesn't come into effect until we get down to the championships and finals. But right now, during the regular season, they're playing for seeding in those tournament rounds. And so, you know, everything matters. Every point matters.
Yeah, we've only got 3 weeks left, you know,
Yeah.
So if Boss Fight takes the fall, they're going to have to really laser focus those last few weeks, really get challenges in, really start winning some matchups if they want to recover those points. And I mean, this would be huge on the other side of the aisle for Dead Logic. This would put Dead Logic in a great position to, you know, put themselves higher in the standings, potentially challenge those top 7 spots that lock in for postseason.
See what happens. We have 2:50 left on the clock. Everything's tied up, and Novius, and honestly, the entirety of this Dead Logic team has had very little resistance on their movements up along this north spawn point. Radar is drawn into this corner here, looking at the wall, so it's going to be pretty risky for Novius to peek, but if you drop the angle, it's all about timing. We'll see if Novius ends up swinging at just the right time or not.
The main miss here for Boss Fight, I think, is Legal's position, but I wonder if he'll be able to swing in time to find anybody rotating on that north street. He is just so far away from the rest of the objective. Like, that run is impossible if Radar Head and Viper go down.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's watching the south, especially with this objective, and especially knowing where the spawn is at this point. I guess Scooby-Doo, not necessarily watching that street for the cross, but you can kind of get information. You know, you can know that nobody's gone south if Scooby is watching this street and doesn't see anybody cross this street. It doesn't seem like they had that sort of bit of coverage, and Radar actually able to get Sir Cookie Noob on the back end, and Nade comes out to the rooftop of Flash in the direction of Viper, but doesn't quite get him, and all eyes drawn over to Radar here.
Now Moa Master is going to be looking for him. Radar swinging wide. Moa just tucked in under that tank. Not in the eyes of Viper. He has snuck up prone this whole way. And if they look away at the wrong time for the wrong amount of time, this could be a cap. I mean, this is... You have to wonder if this is what they're looking for. Scooby nabs Furious Daddy there. As soon as Moa Master shoots, the plan is blown.
You know, it's looking good for Boss Fight right now. Dead Logic into the 4v2, but we've seen that get swapped already, so not counting anything out just yet. We'll obviously have to keep our eyes on Moa Master. If he picks up Radar Head, it's going to be huge, but Radar, I mean, he doesn't recognize how big of a kill that is. Because if he goes down, it's just him and Viper, and at that point, cap, round, everything goes to the way of Dead Logic, but right now, it's all going to come down onto the shoulders of Oaks, who does catch Lego with a bit of an over-aggressive rotation. Gives his position away. You can see Scooby lasering in now. Shots come in from Scoob. They find their target, and we are going to a final map 3.
You can hear the sigh of relief from here, from above the casting desk. I mean, I can hear it. Oh my goodness. Boss Fight has got to be thanking whatever deity or thing they believe in right now that they were able to cinch that up, especially after losing one early like that.
Wow.
I mean, right off the break, they lost one to Sir Cookie Noob's positioning. Radar IDing Sir Cookie Noob, who, again, has been playing great, but the
Fantastic.
choice to sit and watch that corridor for that long may have been a mistake. I mean, obviously it was a mistake, but I don't even have words. And now we're going into the map 3 decider. This is exactly why we do what we do here, folks. And the map 3 choice is going to be none other than your downfall.
You know,
It's going to be someone's downfall, I should say.
Yeah. I said earlier, this is definitely I feel like if you pick this map, it's going to be from Boss Fight, and it's going to be because you're going to want to give Viper that sniper. You know, want to put the sniper in a Viper's hands and let him at it. To that same extent, Sir Cookie has just been sniping like a wild man today. He is the MVP of this Dead Logic team by far, and here we are. We're going to get some sniper battles for the final map of the day.
Yeah, this kind of now makes sense why, Suburbia and Subway were taken out of the pool.
Yeah.
Right? Both teams wanted these long angles. We've played the 3 long angle maps, right? Bazaar and Quarantine, and now we're on Downfall. They want that range, and neither team is shy of the other's, long range skill. They have been more than happy to challenge each other in those long corridors.
And now here's something interesting, bringing back 35 on the Boss Fight roster. So Polis Bill getting subbed out after a solid performance. I guess I didn't take a gander at Polis's KD, but I mean, to come out on top there off of a round win and then bring in the sub that was playing when you lost 4-1. Interesting decision, but one thing we haven't really talked about is a lot of these teams field a full 8-man roster. They have 8 players on their team, and they do that because those 3 in the sub position are very good. They're map experts. They're one's really good at Subway, one's really good at Cargo, one's really good at Downfall, and it allows you to put the person that is most comfortable into the position, into the game at any given point. And so it does have its value. I wonder if Dead Logic maybe bringing in someone here on Downfall as well. But yeah, they are. Roadster getting subbed in. Was he? Yeah, right. He wasn't in last map.
Let's take a look. It is. Yeah, Roadster is a sub. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you who he subbed in for, but yes, that is a new rostered member here. So we're seeing roster swaps by both teams, something that not a lot of teams opt to do. I mean, this has just been
it's top tier Onward. It really is, and again, to your point, interesting to say that coming from the fact that Dead Logic in the middle of the ladder rank wise, I guess to that point, we've seen everyone is just really investing time and getting good at the game. The skill gap is slowly starting to sort of close up. I suppose from bronze to diamond, it's obviously still there, but in the middle of the league, those middle teams are starting to get pretty dang good. And here we are, case in point, Dead Logic threatening Boss Fight for a series as we go into round number 1 of map 3.
I mean, when what's interesting about it too is when you take away smokes like this temporarily from seasoned teams, and you're essentially giving a bit of an edge to these newer teams, right? Because they're not as entrenched in their playstyle. They adapt quicker in a lot of cases. So I wonder how much of that is coming into play in these rounds for Dead Logic, but they have been playing excellent. Smokes or not, they have been landing their shots, communicating well, doing crazy things. I mean, it has been so interesting to watch this match. I am so glad we managed to pick this up.
Yeah, very good one to throw out to the venue's audience as well. So a shout out to everyone tuning in across all the platforms. We do appreciate you, and already the spawn getting identified by Lonely Viper, so he's looking for the snipe. He just said if he peeks, I'm killing Sir Cookie Noob. This is the sniper battle we're talking about that we were anticipating here today.
Peek me, puppy.
If I can take
This is such a tight angle for both. They're both just, you know, Lonely Viper has just barely got his head through that little crack. He's looking for it, and Sir Cookie Noob, meanwhile, scanning. He's looking for the windows. He's checking, but he's not checking the wall. That wall has killed me more times than I'd like to admit, to be honest with you.
Because of this fucking tree, dude.
Meanwhile, the rest of the offense here, oh, just as you look away, you know, isn't that always the case? A fantastic headshot by Lonely Viper will knock out Sir Cookie Noob from that North Hotel position. That's huge. That is huge for this boss fight defense.
Viper calling out for a distraction. He wants the suppressive fire from radar.
I'm already across.
Nobody else giving it out there. 35 doesn't reinforce, but it's enough. Viper does cross, and Momaster's still up in that building. So if Viper decides to push all the way up there and try and take control of the hotel, he's still going to have to challenge a couple of folks. Novius also with a bit of a laser drawn in down here onto the wall. And again, if you are tuning in, lasers are not a thing in the game. It is just for the viewing experience. It just helps you sort of see the line of sight of the player.
Yeah, there's no names, there's no HUD of any kind. You've got your tablet, which shows the position of just your friends, and even at that, only within a range of about 75 yards, give or take, in every direction. And that is it. So you've got to use that communication. You got to use the radio or the proximity chat, or just listen to the sounds of weapons and try to remember what each gun sounds like. I mean, this is as realistic as it gets. A military simulator in its truest form. A fantastic, tool for building the camaraderie with your team. You've really got to be on point.
Absolutely, and we've been watching Viper holding his position up in the north, and in the meantime, Furious Daddy has managed to work his way up the South Ravine and slowly pushing in towards Legal's position. A little suppressive fire from Radar. I think that's directed down over towards Momaster. But I'm curious.
It was actually West Red Truck that he was looking for there, but he didn't. I think he was just checking the window. I think Novius had made it on the backside of that building on a call out, so he was putting a little pressure on it. But Moa does make it here, and now Lonely Viper will have to deal with this position. Is he aware that? I mean, he crept down that hill prone the whole way. Yeah. I don't think he was ID'd by anybody.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think Radar did ever spot him. 35 definitely wasn't looking, and Viper had vision up onto that other car. He does quickly take a gander here, but Momaster has now shifted behind this rock. I think he's just out of Viper's vision there on the wall.
Radar does spot out West Red Truck. That's Novius going down now.
We have to keep our attention divided because Furious Daddy also working his way up towards Legal.
Ooh, Moa, I think just heard Lonely Viper's call-outs there. He's checking tab. But he's in such a dangerous spot. So many defenders can swing to find this pick on him.
We are snapping to and fro. Furious Daddy crawling under Legal's line of sight. Legal finds Roaster. Furious Daddy quickly peeks up. Now we drop over back to Momaster as Viper rotates around, and Momaster gathering information. He could work his way up to this new position up on that inside the tower, but doesn't opt to go for that. Seds peeks, finds Viper. Things are getting evened up as now it's 2-3, but 24 seconds on the clock.
Time is a factor. That grenade not working out for Moa. He's going to have to push this manually. Radar finding Furious, and it's just up to 10 seconds left. No time as 35 pops the doorway. Pops Momaster, and boss fight take that first defensive round here on Downfall.
Solid hold from them on Downfall. Good way to kick off the enemy's map pick. You know, it's can't ask for a better way to do it. And to be frank, I think we're probably just going to see Volk trades here down into round 7. You know, at this rate, how close this series has been, I don't anticipate anybody getting too crazy, although we have seen some wild plays today already. So
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I'm going to put my eggs in the I'm not going to see anything crazy basket, because so far it has been a wild ride, to say the least, between these two teams. It's going to come down, I feel like, and I'm going to try to keep my eye on this so I can analyze it at the end of the map. It's going to come down to that Viper Cookie Noob trade.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, who gets it?
Who gets it right off the bat? They're looking for each other. They know that on the other side of the field, there's another guy with a scope just looking for that little melon to try to pop. And that, I think, is going to dictate a lot of how these rounds go, because once you take that 12x off the field, you've opened up quite a bit. And without smokes on Downfall, a big argument from people is that it's a difficult map to cross.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes, we've seen that to be the case in some cases. In others, not so much. We'll see how it pans out for these two teams. Boss fight, they're more than able, to hold off the advance of Dead Logic, and we'll see if it goes the other way. We do have mirrored spawns.
It's interesting to hear Dead Logic's comms pre-round here, just trying to get their mindset locked in. And we talk about it. Mindset's a huge thing in this game. You know, a lot of these players, veteran players, they're used to the pressure of playing in the league. They're used to that sort of pressure. Dead Logic, a silver team, and although they have some veteran players on their squad, you know, it's interesting to see that you know they're sort of maybe not struggling with it, but trying to make it a point of emphasis to stay focused and to keep the positive attitude, because it's key in any game to have a positive mentality.
This boss fight pressure in the north is wild. I mean, they've got 3 already within 100 yards of these objective buildings. Lego, Scooby-Doo, Radar Head just scanning, looking for it.
To your point of the, well, I don't know. I saw someone say this map's kind of risky with no smokes. It's different. It is stealthier. It is quieter. It is, you know, it's not the same in that those smokes, like we said, are an audio cue. They give your position away more so than anything else. But if they're placed right, they deny the vision, and so you can cross underneath them. Without them, it's just a bunch of players slithering on the ground, stealthing their way up, avoiding lines of sight, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, or window suppression. You know, there's been a lot of M249s out and about on Downfalls these days because, hey, I'm just going to lay down a ton of bullets into this building that we know people like to sit in. And what are they going to do? You know, peek out and get shot? No. And that is how a lot of teams have opted to advance their players on it. So really, it's not that it's harder. It's just that you have to rethink how you approach things. It's no longer, oh, I can just throw an obfuscating object and make my way across. It's interesting. And I think a lot of players and teams will, in the end, be the better for having to play with a different utility, you know?
Yeah.
I think people will find that they just will mix different play styles a lot better. I do think, however, that the 5 minutes, the going down from 6 to 5 on Downfall is rough. I think is one of the maps that does feel a lot more pressured when you don't have that extra minute. And as you saw there, Dead Logic running out of time almost.
To that point, Radar has already moved up to the, you know, like you don't have to play it slow though. You know, you can sneak, you can slide, you can avoid defensive angles and be right up to objective with 2.5 minutes left. I mean, Radar is here, ready to go, ready to push furious.
There's some of that suppressive fire we're talking about being laid down, keeping people out of the windows. The big thing here is going to be for Radar. Sir Cookie Noob, he's kind of far back in the camera angle there, laying down in that doorway, but that is exactly what he's looking for, is for Radar's peek around this building.
Oh yeah, you're right. He does have that line of sight drawn in there.
But he looks away. He looks away. Now Roaster checks it, and there it is. Radar getting caught out, and that's going to give Dead Logic the mid-round advantage here.
Flash comes up and over. There's a ton of other lines of lasers, excuse me. Viper way up there in the north is drawn down over here to Roaster's position as well. Potentially Cookie Noob, if he can find that angle too, but going to be a slow burn. And yeah, Cookie Noob actually may spot him here before Viper spots Cookie in that doorway.
Minute 20 left on the clock for this boss fight offense. They don't have the man advantage. They're still sussing out where players are. I mean, we're hearing comms of Is there anybody in that building? Yes, no. Is there anybody in that building? Yes, no. So they don't even have the full accurate, identification of where players are. And now, over the shoulder here of Cookie Noob, is he going to spot out Viper? He's in the perfect position. Both of them are in the perfect position, but they're not looking in exactly this same spot. He's going to opt to look away there. Now 40 seconds left. Now comes the pressure. Pushing down over the top of the helicopter here. Scooby's signaling to the team. We got to move. We got to move.
M203 is getting launched. Furious Daddy still alive. Bottom floor, 25 seconds now. And honestly, it's going to be their best chance here at pushing. Roaster able to deny entry there. He was going to swing on Furious, and everyone getting picked up. All the cross angles coming to fruition. Viper now the lone sniper trying to push in the 1v5. And like I said, I think we're going to get Volk traded rounds here as Dead Logic lock in a dominating answer back with 5 left to lock.
I mean, it is that extra minute, I think that was a play designed for a 6-minute downfall.
Sure.
And I think, the distance that you have to cross, even when you're crouching and sliding and prone, it's substantial. Downfall's a big map. Corner to corner, I think it takes something like a minute and a half to run it, or minute 15 or something to run it. I mean, It is not a small map.
Yeah.
So... it is just that speed thing, but I mean, they didn't have the identified players from the defense. And that goes to Dead Logic's tucked in playstyle.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the right spots. They held their angles. They trusted their teammates. There was even a Volk drone out. I was kind of popping around to check where it was, and it was watching over that sort of center map area. And they were confident. They were confident that the boss fight was gonna have to get in close. They were gonna just engage them when they got in close, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think as the objectives shift and the spawns shift, we may see different styles of play, and we won't run out of time as much, but I think both teams feeling that 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And it's what's our next objective? That's the question. A similar position, but not so much. It is require a little bit of a different defensive setup. Spawns obviously widely different too, as we are going to be set up in the south. But round number 3, still my hands up in the air. Dead Logic just playing out of their shoes right now to put up such good rounds against boss fight. And it really just has me wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I'm laying ambush.
To your point, I think the tucked-in defense has always worked really well on Downfall. When smokes were a thing or when they weren't, it was a solid method of defending the objectives. Just get your really tight kill box and just don't expose yourself. Don't let yourself get sniped. Don't peek any angles you don't have to. Just watch your objective and let the offense come to you. It seems like Boss Fight has a similar setup here for that. This objective, Scooby-Doo really the most forward. 35 also taking a little gander out, and 35 needs to hold this line of sight because that cross there to cross down into dumpster is a lot harder than it used to be. You used to have a lot of smokes to cover that angle. You just don't have that anymore, and interestingly enough, 35 isn't going to cover this, and so there should actually be a free cross. Yeah, you're going to see it. Navius gets across that street without any consequence. And in the day of no smokes, it's all stealth. No indicator that anyone's even over here, so maybe they don't even know the spawn yet.
Cookie, make sure they don't flank us from our right valley side.
Take a look in. Let's listen into the comms here of these players and see what they're communicating. Maybe they're just burping. Roaster able to cross. Furious and Momaster taking up positions. Dead Logic setting up very nicely. The four set up inside buildings with Sir Cookie Noob on Overwatch, and he finds the major pick. Down goes Viper, and he even knows that he took out Viper. He is aware that he has sniped their range. And now if you're boss fight, you cannot afford to even check angles. If you can't peek out of these windows. If you do, you're in incredible risk here as Sir Cookie Noob sniping you away. He has not been missing today. Jeez, I cannot believe the sniper battles we've seen.
It has been a great sniper series. I mean, and it's really just the two players, and they're just going head to head. I mean, he is challenging
Well, it's all it can
a
be, right?
seasoned sniper veteran, right? Yes, true.
There can't even be. There can only be one sniper on the field per the kit loadout rules of the game. But yeah, it has. Both of them are so good that it's just so fun to watch the duels that have been going on here. Now, Momaster may be able to find something. He's kind of positioned nicely back by this truck in the center. Yep, Lego shots coming out towards him. No, actually, Lego's peeking through the wall.
The wrong thing, but he should be looking at me now.
Oh no, he wasn't. It looks like Lego's peeking through the wall. Momaster takes shots at what looks like a body popping through there, but it's nothing. And if anything, he's given his position away in the center.
Yeah, but under that sniper coverage, they've got 3 members here in the center hotel, just perfectly positioned to strike. However, that will throw a bit of a wrench in the plans.
Ooh.
As 35 nabs, 2 downs, neither confirmed. But Sir Cookie Noob is most likely going to stay right where he is.
Big play there is from 35 to snag that double. Very impressive work there with the rifle, and yeah, they are resable. They can pick up Cookie Noob on the backside there. I doubt they're going to go for that res without any smokes. It's incredibly risky, especially with how far they've already managed to push up. Scooby-Doo could be a really key defensive position here.
60 seconds here. I'm still kind of surprised that they didn't commit more to that northeast side. Novius managing to trade out with Scooby. That's a great pick for him. And now 35 is going to be able to respond as Roaster's not ready for that helicopter 2-story window position. And 48 seconds left. Slego pops around to toss a little nade, and fantastic shooting there from Furious. Will find the headshot. Now the rotation comes in. Radar's going to have to be the one to shut it down. He does. 30 seconds left. Moa Master versus 2. Should know where 35 is, but to deal with Radar here and get Pat out, he's going to have to be moving a little faster than this. His watch has indicated to him that he has got no time left. It looks like he is going to end up running out of time. Maybe he didn't even hear the watch beep. When that gunfire is going off, you don't even know what's happening. He's got the pad out, but there's only a few seconds left, and that will cinch things up for boss fight as they grab themselves another Volk round.
The Volk trades continue. That one getting a little hairy for a boss fight, coming down to ultimately a 1v2, and they stuck to their angles. Radar really the key component of defense there. But if you think about it, there could have been an opportunity to come in from the backside, punch in the code underneath. To your point, with another minute, maybe they would have had that time to slowly work their way up to that. But with only 5 on the clock for downfall, you have to be quicker. You can't really linger on your decision making. You have to go, and really not take your foot off the gas.
That's what's got me scratching my head a little bit. This is Dead Logic's map choice, right? This is the the series deciding map.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see teams pick into this map and not have a strategy for a 5-minute downfall. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not something I would expect from a team that has been playing at the caliber they've been playing today to not factor in when they choose that final map. It's like almost, why don't you go cargo?
Yeah.
Why don't you take them into the high pressure, quick moving scenarios? I don't know. It's just been an interesting thing to see. I can understand maybe boss fight not having to prepare because they're on Volk. All they got to do is tuck in and just win Volk rounds. But for Dead Logic to pick into this and to pick into this against somebody like Lonely Viper, it boggles the mind a little bit. Like, why would you not have an idea of how you're going to do this without running out of time?
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look at the KDs before we hop into this next round. Radar 4-1. Doing some work for his squad, and Roaster 3-2. Everything else pretty spread on the likes of Dead Logic. But bit of a faster spawn for the likes of boss fight, so the action could unfold a little bit quicker than it did last round.
Yeah, we saw this early pressure from boss fight in their offensive round previously. So not surprised to see them gaining as much ground as they can here before they tuck in and slow up. And that's something we haven't seen Dead Logic really do. They've been taking it from the corner slow, whereas Boss Fight opts to get as much real estate as they can and then work from there.
Novius nearly goes down to an M203 shot from Legel, and he's got to be careful peeking this window because Legel has an eyesight on it. And now Novius certainly aware of the position there on the wall and not going to be peeking that window anytime soon. But the suppression opens up the cross, and you can see on the overhead the team's rotating in on that south.
Yeah, Viper now rotating way up in the hills. He took a couple of shots at Sir Cookie in that Northwest Watch building, tucking in. Sir Cookie noob a little bit. Now he's taking shots at anybody near that objective building. I mean, he's just applying this sort of RNG pressure. You know, the defense is going to have a hard time adjusting to Lonely Viper just constantly moving, taking a shot, moving, taking a shot, moving, taking a shot. It's a difficult thing to defend against.
Yeah, and if, you know, I think one of the key elements there was they didn't have their sniper coming in from them on the offense last round for the likes of Dead Logic, and if Viper can stay alive, find himself the picks, again, like you said, who gets shot first? Who loses their sniper first? That's going to be really the decider, and who comes out on top.
Interestingly, Scooby is the one utilizing the drone, so Viper seems to be handing his tablet to another player to use the drone. That is what's happening here, because Scooby's got that. He's got that machine gun loadout, but he's operating the drone right now. Sir Cookie denying Legel the center approach there. A big pickup with 2 minutes and 40 left. And now we know Lonely Viper. Can you cap with someone else's tablet? I actually don't even remember if that's a thing. I know you can use the drones with them because that's like a different operation, but does he even have a tablet?
Sniper battle unfolding here. Cookie Noob takes one in the shoulder. Lucky it wasn't the head. He's still alive. And Viper looking for the angle, but not going to find it. Novius drawn in over there off the callouts from Cookie Noob. And here comes the drone to hover right over on top of him. So Cookie Noob gave a wave to the drone.
Suppression now coming in from 35, keeping that. This is exactly what I was talking about. I'm going to put them gunfire down.
They're going for the cap underground. They're going to send Radar to challenge MoMaster on objective. Their Furious Daddy's going to be a huge element here with his line of sight if he holds it. If he doesn't, Radar just has to push MoMaster quick. So Cookie Noob's down 2 now, so the back defense very weak. Roaster and MoMaster really the only two that are going to defend this push.
Yeah, Radar is inside. It's going to be MoMaster for the win, unless Novius is peeking a very tight angle. I mean, he's in danger from Scooby's shots as well. He's kind of scanning all over the place, and Viper's still getting set up in the the northeast as well. Minute and 10 seconds left. The pressure is mounting here. Furious Daddy does spot out Radar head, and that is the tip of the spear out.
Massive pickup there for Furious Daddy to find that kill onto Radar inside. Absolutely denying what could have been that back entry point. What they need now is for Viper to do some magic and work his way up towards Furious Daddy and get that kill into the bottom floor so we can open up the entry.
West right upper floor.
There's conversation between the Dead Logic, letting their teammates know where they lost enemies so they know where to watch their coverage. Nice little check nade from Novius, but a touch early as Viper opts to go around Furious Daddy's position, but Scooby getting caught out by Novius on that cross. 35 going down as well, and now it's just up to Viper, who rushes the corner with the pistol. But it's not enough, and we're back to a tie game here as Dead Logic gets the second point.
Solid defensive hold there, and again, a key element to the defense. Furious Daddy 5-3 when you look at the KDs, but his line of sight denying 2 entry points to the back. Things get dicey when you get close. You know, if Radar could have sprinted, you can essentially sprint to this bottom floor, potentially trade with MoMaster or win that, and then cap, in objective. So it could have been map series boss fight if Furious Daddy doesn't get those kills. So really important angle for him to be holding there, and we continue to trade Volk rounds 2-2.
I mean, you can see their boss fight came in with a pretty good idea of what they were going to do. They had the right setup. They had the rotations correct. Lonely Viper was a constant moving target, applying pressure from, 50 different angles during that entire round. I mean, he was keeping that defense moving. Sir Cookie Noob had to tuck in, so he couldn't apply the pressure to the offense. It was working perfectly, but the problem was they didn't apply enough pressure to the people just on the outside of the objective. Furious Daddy, Novius, all having relatively free range of those windows.
Yep. Suppressive fire would have been good there. Just to dump suppressive fire onto those windows forces the person back off of the angle. And this objective, an interesting one. I don't know if Dead Logic are thinking cap. I can't imagine either one of these teams are really thinking cap at this point. But, I mean, hey, a cap's going to get you the series, so it's got to be in the back of their mind.
Now, what's interesting about this is the 5-minute timer doesn't apply here. This is the shortest run of the objectives. I believe you can't get anything shorter than this to get up to the objective closely. And Novius with the quick pick onto Radar as he pushes out to the center hotel. He's not going to make it fast enough. And Dead Logic has been so on point with that early pick. I have seen boss fight down to 4 in many rounds.
Yeah, to that point, boss fight doesn't let that ruin their momentum. It doesn't let them spoil around. They are able to bounce back from the 4v5. Their positioning tends to lead towards one person sort of being a risk almost. That's what it seems to be maybe. They are sort of investing in one guy doing something a little dicey. Maybe it pays off. If it doesn't, then they're down into the 4v5 and it comes down to everyone's other angles. But I don't know. I think we're going to have to watch Sir Cookie Noob here. He's almost dialed down onto Lego on the second floor in the stairwell, and that's what he's looking for. He's scanning that 3-story building here with a sniper way up on the hilltop.
Yeah, Lego's going to have to stay tucked in. But, I mean, he's almost neutered in that position with that sniper up there. He doesn't really have coverage of any appreciably good angle for this Dead Logic spawn. Now, they know the spawn already. Boss fight has ID'd it. Radar going down. The one benefit of losing a member so early is that you know exactly where they got shot from in almost every case.
Yeah. Yeah, the spawn definitely known, and it gives information to Viper that with this spawn, the sniper for this team most likely up on this hilltop. And we've seen Viper scanning here, just waiting for Cookie to look for a different angle or to move and rotate. And we'll see if Cookie decides to slowly peek up or not, and if Viper continues to hold that angle. But I don't know, 3 minutes on the clock.
I mean, he doesn't need to. He can just stay here and force the rest of his team, have the rest of his team create the pressure on that north side, force those defenders in the south, in the white building, to come out to try to defend against a cap, and then just have a field day, fish in a barrel, basically.
Booker's gonna kill me. They could get, they've got mid hotel pretty easily now.
Drawn down there on to the likes of Novius and Furious Daddy, but doesn't have a good vision onto it. Callouts that those silent shots are coming from Mo Master. So information for boss fight to work off of, and I think Legal may find action next because Furious Daddy and Novius are going to have to push this building.
Yeah, they're going to have to clear Legal. Excuse me. They're going to have to clear Legal out, and then 35 will be their next big worry. I mean, if he's peeking that window at the right time, he'll be their worry constantly. But Legal tucked in. He's not really bothered by that pre-fire. It's Novius who's in trouble now.
Oh, was holding the angle there. Furious Daddy able to push up and avoid potential line of sight from him out the front window. And actually, I like this rotation because they have full coverage of this side of the objective. Roaster gets down by a nade from Viper out the window. But Furious Daddy's still positioning himself to push in.
And that's exactly what Viper was waiting for on that angle. Novius going down. Scooby finding Moa on this push. 1 minute 20 left. A little smack talk there from Viper to the downed Rove Master.
They also had a trade in the 3-story in the center. Legal going down. And now it's all up to Cookie Noob on the hilltop. In a 1v3, so I don't know. He's not out of it yet, but he's only got a minute left to work with.
No.
Yeah, you can hear the oh no. Oh no indeed, my friend. You're gonna have to get moving, get shaking, and get shooting. The confirmation comes out.
Well?
Scooby on the confirmation gives himself up, but that is enough information for the defense to hopefully dial into his approach. I mean, if Lonely Viper doesn't assume he's going to be coming down this other side of the hill, then I don't think I know Lonely Viper very well.
35 seconds left on the clock, and Cookie, well, I don't know, man. Does he have enough time to full sprint to the bottom floor and punch in code?
If he doesn't stop. If he doesn't stop. 35 giving himself away, but that's enough information for Viper as he pops the window and the shots come out. He doesn't land them. Can Cookie Noob respond? It's 10 seconds left. He just has to tuck in. Viper looking. Cookie Noob knows he's out of time. The shots coming in on both sides. Who's going to win the trade? Viper takes the shots, but I mean, why even peek that, Viper? You know?
Look, I don't care why he did it, but he delivered us with a perfect sniper battle that you couldn't have asked for any better. I mean, it comes down to those two. And I mean, geez, Sir Cookie Noob doesn't miss today. He is just sniping everyone that comes into his vision. I say that as he misses Viper a couple of times, but still, to almost bring that back from the 1v3, such a great job from him.
I mean, that is wild. And you know, I think it's just because Viper maybe didn't know that 35 was down.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there was no call out there. Maybe he assumed he still had one alive, so he's like, I'm just gonna challenge it. But that could have been the one Marsoc round in this slew of Volks, and that is so dangerous because boss fight just has to hang on. You know, if they keep trading Volks, it's a boss fight map. But if Dead Logic grab this and the next Marsoc, that's who knows.
And Dead Logic has been contesting these defense, like they are the 1v2 the round before when they were on offense, the 1v1 here. They are very close to taking a Marsoc round. So if we get down to that 7th round, if boss fight can't manage to snag this Marsoc W, then this series just continues to deliver on the unexpected, and with some great highlight. We could fill a full reel from just today's game. We're still not done yet either. Round number 6. Whoops, wrong spinner there. Round 6 now.
I'll watch that for a second.
Oh wait, I don't actually know.
It is quick spawn for boss fight, and it's identified by the defense as well. So now boss fight getting that same short run, so there was no northeast spawn for either side. They get the quick runs here. Radar and Novius already on top of one another. Oh, there's the grenade coming out. It's going to force Radar to push out, but not fast enough. And there goes Radar's chances. We'll see if...
That's interesting. That's a bit of a delayed reaction there. He didn't know it was a nade. Maybe he thought it was a flash out the gate, so didn't instantly run when he saw it. But once he did recognize it as a nade in front of him, you saw him try to run away. Down he goes. Novius can't really get this confirm without risking quite a bit. And actually, as I say that, he is able to get out here. Scooby not holding this angle through the window. And yeah,
it was
now
right there, too. That would have been perfect. And Cookie Noob with the shot onto the resident Viper sniper. And that is that's the answer back for last round.
Yeah, Dead Logic setting up things nicely here for their defensive round. They want to take this to a round 7. And they have perfect callouts. We just heard as we dropped over to 35, it's a 5v3, so they know exactly how many are up and what they have left. And look, again, if you're a new player, take notes. Just the little things. Just that little interaction of comms is something that you should be taking down on a pad if you're a new player. Comms are huge. They're the most important thing in this game. And to make sure that everyone's on the same page at all times, it just helps alleviate the constant pressure that is otherwise generated from this style of game. There's no nameplates, nothing. It's all just your teammates, your communication, and being calm and focused. What?
Oh my goodness, that was such a nice tube from Lego. The MK18 under barrel grenade launcher will find the pick on the objective, and that's going to put a little bit of fire under Novius in the center hotel.
Huge pickup, evening the odds just a little bit, trying to turn things into the favor of boss fight. Novius rotating around could potentially get snagged out by Lego, but again, just got to stay tucked in with objectives like this. And peeking yourself out, you know, into these windows is very risky.
We said it earlier. We said it on quarantine. It was correct then, and we'll say it now. You can never count boss fight down and out. Doesn't matter how many players they got down. Doesn't matter if Viper's dead. He's not the only player on that team. These other players are seasoned, and they are great players. They can bring back anything. So boss fight is definitely looking to get this win. They don't care that they get a Volk round next. They don't care that they may have the advantage. They're looking to seal it up right here.
Yes, indeed. Scooby trailing Lego relatively close behind, and I think that's, if Lego comes in from the center, it's going to be their best approach. They got to get rid of Novius because he'll be the major threat there on that bottom floor, but if they can, the center push is going to work out best for them with the current defensive setup. Cookie Noob obviously is a major threat, but you can just avoid his line of sight, which you can by going in through the center. Then I think it's going to be their best option. As soon as the drone comes out, it's scooped up by Novius, but information off of those shots to work with.
35 just skirting underneath Sir Cookie Noob's line of sight here. Not ID'd by Cookie Noob, I don't think. Nade coming out, though. Novius does call out that he hears the West Street, so there was a call. Maybe Furious Daddy was the one who spotted him out in that objective building, but the clock ticks down, the minute and 10. Can they beat the clock and Dead Logic to seal the map, or are they going to take it to that Volk side, that round 7?
Right now, Dead Logic looking good. They're set up very strong. They're all holding their angles. They're being patient. No one's getting too panicky on any rotations here, exposing themselves like they shouldn't. And 35 just isn't finding anything. And with 45 seconds left, it's going to be essentially a full 3v4 challenge. Lego's going to push in here. Novius going to have that line of sight in through the center, so shots come in from him, and down he goes. Scooby has to get this refrag as 35 goes down, and now Scooby, the lone survivor, into a 1v4. A tall order for him with 25 left.
No, don't do that.
There it is. That's going to seal that Volk round up for Novius. Now, you know, I've got a feel for boss fight there because the smoke in that specific scenario does make all the difference, right?
Oh, yeah.
There are certain scenarios where a smoke would absolutely make all the difference. But at the same time, I mean, these teams are both working with the same, you know, with the same set. Yeah, it's not like one team has them and the other team doesn't. This is even ground. And Dead Logic now going to be doing offense on the what is the call out for this? The Southeast HQ. Southeast
upper
H-
dumpster. According
Is
to,
that
I
what-
believe,
is that what it's called?
I believe Anonymous has called it upper dumpster, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. That's a new one for me. I think we always called that either South HQ or Southeast HQ. But either way, the objective only shifts maybe 50 yards to the east. So a similar approach, but this one does not opt to get a lot of quick spawns. The northeast spawn is most likely for Marsoc, so a longer cross. Teams will have to try to get across the east. That East Tank Valley where there is a huge sniper lane. I'm expecting to see Sir Cookie Noob and Viper there in spades.
Oh yeah.
And we'll see how they do it. But this is just the one shot. Dead Logic gets the attempt at this objective, and boss fight just has to hold it. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is the closest it gets.
Yep, couldn't have asked for a better showcase for a Sunday afternoon. Venues getting the best of the best for this week, I think. Definitely the best matchup that I've tuned into for week 7. And it has not stopped delivering. Quarantine absolutely popping off. Downfall has been a very good back and forth. And I mean, now we're into map 3, round 7. The whole series on the line, everything coming down to this last round.
For Dead Logic, this is huge. Are they going to get that early pick? Are they going to make it a 5v4 like they've done so many rounds before? They do have the opportunity here as 35 and Rayarhead are going to have to cross to the objective building. Is there going to be somebody lined up to try to take these shots? The pressure already coming in from that southeast hill, though. The boss fight defense applying the pressure early. It looks like, did they ID spawn? I actually haven't seen
Scooby-Doo calling it out heavily and putting out a lot of fire down to those players calling out for Viper to rotate, and Viper's already here looking for the shots. Just misses a couple, and actually the first missed sniper shots we've really seen from Viper. We certainly saw Cookie miss his on Viper, but not a lot of misses that we've seen from either one of these snipers. And Scooby also has to be a bit careful himself because he's definitely made this position known.
Yeah, now Cookie Noob
can find an angle.
He's on the hill here. He's looking for it. If they're not prepared for him to re-peek that same angle, he's going to be very dangerous. And he's got eyes on Scooby already. Shots ringing out. Don't land.
Viper can't get vision on him because the palm tree is blocking Viper's current position. Now Viper has swapped with Cookie and is getting a little bit of a different line of sight here. May be able to eventually spot it out because Cookie drawn in onto that LMG fire.
He's taking the shots. He's looking for it, but he's just not finding them. And meanwhile, the rest of his team here, they're kind of stuck. They're on an island. Furious Daddy is managing to get across, though, very slowly under the eyes of Radar and Legel.
I can't see him.
Oh, the sniper battle is so
Yep,
ferocious.
it's so
2 minutes
ferocious.
have already ticked out, by the way. I mean, just like that, 2 minutes is gone.
Huge for boss fight. It's all they need to do is just shut down any sort of early movement and throw the clock at them. Force Dead Logic to move and work under time, under pressure on the clock. Viper here peeking up now, looking for the old Cookie Noob position, and Cookie's just playing it patient, waiting to take that final shot, and actually now rotating off the reload.
So Legel spotted Novius crossing to center hotel here. Now he's putting the pressure onto 35. He does find the headshot. That's a big pick. He knows where Legel is. Is he going to just peek this? No, Legel looking for it now. Novius is in a huge spot, though, for 2.5 minutes. If somebody downs Legel, and that someone is Novius, that opens up this west approach in a huge way. Radarhead now going to be the one to shut down this approach. He's looking out the door. He spots Novius. The shots come in. He does go down.
Scooby picking up Furious too, and a massive swing for Dead Logic. Heavy comms coming in from Scooby and Viper. They know the severity of their situation, and right now they are panicking. They are crashing on objective, making sure nobody's capping. Nobody is. They have to be careful on the rotations.
It's a 3v3, nice and even. Dead Logic does have this res. Radar's not peeking, and Scooby's rotated through, so now it's a 4v3. 2 minutes left. Little grenade check onto the objective. Viper looking out this window, looking for that pick onto Moa Master. He wants it, but the suppressive fire coming in. Will they have enough? They need to get these people across. Cookie Noob and Furious Daddy need to be able to get across. Radar spots one out. That is one down and out, but Cookie Noob peeking here. He should just continue pushing. The pressure needs to come in from a side. They're not going to expect if he swings around Dumpster, he could find Scooby.
The three-man press, Dead Logic with 1:15, trying to spread a little bit. You see Roaster distracting heavily, and again, Cookie Noob stealthing his way through here. Mo Master with the suppressive fire. He's going to be out of bullets soon. He's already gone through one mag, and he's got a rifle, so he doesn't have a ton of rounds left. He's going to come down to just the pistol for suppressive fire with a minute left, most likely in a... we got to stay locked on Cookie because he is rotating around the defense right now.
He's going to be the biggest impact if he can find one, maybe two here, and that's Scooby knocking one out. 45 seconds left. Moa Master going down. It's just one left. The grenade coming out from finds the kill. And boss fight take the map and the series. Oh my goodness.
A battle to the very end. Dead Logic putting everything on the table. Putting everything they had up there. 10-4, yeah, from Novius. And they actually won in overall points in the series.
That is not surprising. I mean, that is the craziest match I have watched in a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, again, a whole highlight reel worth of exceptional gameplay there. And if you are looking at the scoreline and maybe you are a bit confused because Dead Logic does have more points than Boss Fight, Boss Fight has won the series. They have taken the maps. The series win goes to the person with the most map W's. To the effect that Dead Logic have more points, they are going to drop almost nothing in the rank. They're going to receive very little deduction in their overall rank, and on the same side, Boss Fight going to receive very little boost in theirs because, I mean, a ranked 26 team going up against one in the top 10 almost came out on top today.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, we could spend all day recapping every little piece of play and all the amazing stuff that happened. Dead Logic put up one of the best fights I have seen from any team, doesn't matter where you are in the rankings, ever. They should pat themselves on the back. That is, in some ways, an actual victory, but definitely a victory in the heart for me. What else can we say? That was exceptional.
I'll tell you one thing. Dead Logic aren't going to get a lot more opportunities on Downfall and Quarantine. I think teams are going to be religiously banning a long-range map at least against Dead Logic so you can take away Cookie Noob's sniping because, I mean, he did his darndest today with that sniper. He really tried. Him and Viper just constantly dueling, and they were good duels. It was not one-sided Viper, sniper on either side. It was just... wow, that whole series delivered at every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, jeez, I can't even think straight. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. I've been in the Twitch chat and in the Facebook and the YouTube and everybody watching there. We do appreciate you tuning in. Those of you in venues, thank you so much for coming to tune in. Hope you guys had fun hanging out there and it was exciting in that venues thing. Let us know because I'm always missing it when I'm not in there. Big thank you to those guys. And, thank you to our sponsors as well as the viewers. I mean, you guys keep all this stuff going. So big thank you to all of you guys. Nightfire, go ahead and take us out.
Yeah, that is going to be it from us. We are had enough heart palpitations for one day. I need to give it an old break. And again, thanks for everyone tuning in today across all the platforms. My name has been Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Noam with a 4. We will see you all next week with more Onward VRML action, so be sure to tune in.